We bring in now Karol Markowicz. Karol, we got a lot to talk about with you, but I want to start with, sadly, the awful video we saw of true babies that have been kidnapped by Hamas, and the
Yeah.
reaction as those caskets were turned over to the people of Israel. You've talked a lot about your reaction to October 7th, and you're a
Mhm.
mom of three. I imagine that that was devastating to watch and see what is actually still the consequences are October 7th. To kill true babies and hold them
Yeah.
hostage is beyond the pale.
It really is, and thank you so much for having me on. I have two little redheaded boys myself. I have felt the pain of the Bibas family the whole time. Just horrific to know what they went through and what their last moments were probably like. I think anybody, whether or not you have children, anybody human should understand that this was not something that happens in war. My 9-year-old last year said to me something like, "Why doesn't Israel just kidnap the Palestinian children and
Hmm.
then they can swap for them?" Because Israel would never do that. That's why it's something that would only monsters would do that. And an important part to understand is that it wasn't Hamas who kidnapped that family. It was normal Gazans who had broken through the fence and stole these children, in their pajamas from their home with their mom. And it was, what people call normal Palestinians who are not in Hamas. And still, this is what happened. So, very tragic day. I think a lot of us knew that it was heading in this direction, but still, just the sadness and the anger today is palpable.
So, Carol, I guess now we should just expect that the uh, very zealous pro Hamas, pro Palestinian
Hmm.
wing of the Democrat Party in this country is just going to be quiet about this for the next few days, because it seems to me that in any circumstance, when you have an entity, whether it's a government, a terrorist group, anything that
Yeah.
kidnaps literal babies and
Hmm.
then kills them, I mean, refrains from or refuses to keep them alive while in their custody as hostages, you couldn't have a more clear depiction of
Right.
the active decision to conduct evil. And I just feel like this should be something that every person who's been out there crying about the devastation of
Yeah.
buildings in Gaza should have to
Hmm.
answer for. Why shouldn't Gaza be razed to the ground if Hamas is going to conduct terrorist attacks that include the kidnapping and
Right.
decision to murder babies in their custody?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with noting that it's everyday Palestinians who did this, because the argument usually goes, look, the Palestinians don't want Hamas in charge. They have no choice. This is not them. This is only a terrorist group. You can't blame all Palestinians for this. But it actually was all Palestinians. And people have noted that there were Nazis who helped hide Jews, for example, during World War II. There were no Palestinians who helped a single hostage here. There was not one Palestinian who said, "I'm going to take the reward that Israel is offering that will change my family's life forever, and help return these hostages to their homes." None of them did that. So, yeah, I think what the squad and people like that count on is a short memory. Americans are very pro-Israel, and it makes sense. We're both both countries are a civilization. They're not backward, murderous countries that think it's okay to kidnap children. So, what they have to do is to kind of keep this quiet from Americans so that Americans aren't enraged by the murder of two children and their mother. And also today, the fourth body coming home today is an 84-year-old man who was a peace activist who brought Palestinians to Israel, to the hospitals for treatment, because he wanted so badly to have this peace with the Palestinians, and then they used his peacefulness against him and murdered him. So I think what the squad is trying to do is trying to minimize the attention that this gets and hope that Americans don't notice. But I believe in Americans, and I know that Americans care a lot about justice and fairness, and I know that they stand with Israel because Israel represents our values over there.
Karol, shifting gears here a bit,
Hmm.
1 month in, the Trump administration, what grade would you give them? Have you been surprised by how quickly they've moved? How do you think they're doing?
I am so pleasantly surprised. I was very excited for this administration. I early voted for Donald Trump on day one of early voting in Florida. I could not wait to vote for Trump fans. I was excited about it. But they have exceeded all of my expectations. And, I wrote about this today for Fox News, but the 1 month anniversary, what I really have noticed in the last month is that we have a president again. And that is such a comforting feeling. Even though I didn't like Joe Biden and I didn't want the Joe Biden administration, the fact that he was absent for such long periods of time and we didn't know who was making policies or what to expect from that administration, it's scary. And I think that what Americans have felt in the last month, is a sense of comfort where we know who's making policies, we know who's in charge, we know what to expect. And that is a really important feeling. So I've been thrilled. I mean, A++. I have minor quibbles with the Trump administration right now that I can't even, verbalize. Mostly I'm very, very happy with how things are going.
Speaking of Karol Markowicz, she's got a podcast with us on the Clay and Buck Network. And what is the Normie Moms podcast called? You have two podcasts.
I have two podcasts on the Clay and Buck Network. I have the Karol Markowicz Show, which I say is my sort of non-political podcast where I ask political people non-political questions. And then I have Normally that I co-host with Mary Catherine Ham, where we talk news of the day and break it down in a humorous fashion.
Well, thank you for doing great work on that. Audience really enjoying both of those shows, as the numbers attest to. Karol, I want to switch gears for a second to New York. Actually, we're doing around the world today. We're doing a lot of different things with you.
It.
New York City. So it comes out that a couple things have happened in the last 24 hours. Trump has squashed congestion pricing, which was pushed by Governor Kathy Hochul over the strenuous objections of many, many New Yorkers, not just Republicans or people on the right. A lot of New Yorkers like, this is nuts. And now Kathy Hochul has also made it clear she will not just unilaterally fire the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. What the heck is going on here? It just feels like the Democrats can't get out of their own way in the Empire State.
It's amazing. So what's really interesting to me is why would Trump care about this congestion pricing? And I think that one of the criticisms I had of the Trump administration last time around was that they weren't looking towards the future, that they weren't thinking about Republican wins in the future. And to me, this congestion pricing thing is very much a future-looking thing. This wasn't about New York. This was about New Jersey. New Jersey drivers were having to pay this congestion pricing in New York City if they drove into the city, and they were really suffering with it. It was $9. It was going to go up even higher, and it's the New Jersey voter that I think the Trump administration is courting here. New Jersey has been kind of close in the last few elections, and there's a real chance that it can go red in the future. So to me, this was a future election vision where New Jersey can possibly be moved, and I love it. I love everything about that. Then the Kathy Hochul not getting rid of Mayor Eric Adams, I think it would have been really difficult for her to do that. He's a elected mayor, whatever you think of him, and I happen to think he's the best of a really terrible bunch in New York City. So I think if she had gotten rid of him, I don't know how her own political career would have survived it. And I think that's really where she came down on this. It's not that she cared about New York. It's not that she cared about Mayor Adams. She was looking at her own career and saying, where will this leave me? And I think a lot of people would have been really, really mad had she gotten rid of him. And then Jermaine Williams, the public defender, the public advocate, would have become the mayor. And he's super far left, big on defunding the police, while himself living on a military base with full security, of course. And I think people would have been really pissed off. So that's why she backed off, and win-win for Donald Trump.
We're talking to Karol Markowicz. Okay, really important question here to close out, Karol. Your husband is a big football fan. I know that you have sons who are big fans, too, of sports. Mm-hmm. Will you be watching U.S.-Canada tonight in your home, this big hockey game? And do you have a strong take on whether, I'm sure you saw that Canada booed the United States national anthem on Saturday. Should we boo, meaning Boston sports fans, the Canadian national anthem tonight?
Well, so I would say no, we shouldn't boo, because look, it's more like we don't even think about them. Who are they? They're not relevant to us. They think about us quite a bit, and so that's why they booed our anthem. They're real mad at us and whatever. Mary Catherine Ham and I talked about this on Normally, but there's nothing that Americans like more than succeeding in a sport that we largely don't care about. So I'm going to be watching this game for sure. We're going to be rooting for America. And, living in Florida, it's extra fun because Florida has had a really good run in hockey in the last few years. The Florida Panthers have been doing great. And it's great because you live in this warm climate, and hockey is what we're winning down here. So it's terrific. I can't wait to watch the game. No, don't boo the anthem. Let them have this. Again, we don't even think of them.
What does Canada have if we beat them in hockey, Karol? Like, what does the whole country have to go
Clay
for?
is just throwing heat at Canada all day today, Karol.
I'm just saying this is their thing. You mentioned it. This is not even that high of a priority for American sports fans. If we take hockey from them, what do they have left?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know. They have their maple syrup, even though, Vermont is kind of.
You're preaching to the choir. I think Vermont's got better maple syrup than Canada.
Right. So that's it. They're out of the game altogether. It always used to bother me when I would travel and Canadians would wear the Canadian flag on their backpack so nobody would mistake them for American. And I'd be like, nobody cares about you. And nobody cares if you're American or not. Like, get over yourselves. They have this odd, nationalism that they pretend is positive, but it's really not. So I don't know. Let's just beat them and go home and forget about it completely for another year because that's how we do it.
I'm just aghast at how many shots Canada's taken to the face on the ice on this show today. It's just they're missing the front tooth. They got the whole hockey thing going. They got cauliflower ear. It's a rough day for Canada, but Karol Markowicz, go check out the Karol Markowicz show on the Clay and Buck Network and also Normally with her and Mary Catherine Ham. Great for everybody, especially the moms in our audience. You will love it. Karol, give a big hug to Shai from both of us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
That is Karol Markowicz. She is fabulous. And I think, Buck, she might have been more crushing of Canada than me because I was just kind of taking shots in a fun way. Karol was
has
like
Mama Grizzly. She has Mama Grizzly zone she can go into, and when it comes to her American patriotism, she's ready to throw down.
She was just kind of clinically pointing out it's like when you break up with somebody and you don't even bother to care about them anymore, right? Like she's like,
you're saying that America is Don Draper looking at Canada saying, I don't think about you at all.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That famous meme from Mad Men, for those of you who watch, guy says, hey, I'm really worried about you. And Don Draper just says, I don't think about you at all. Look, I'm down in Miami right now running around. We got a fun dinner scheduled tonight with the iHeart crew. But if you are out there right now and maybe you're going to stay up tonight and you're going to watch that U.S.-Canada hockey game, it's going to start around 8. Maybe you stay up a little bit later than you usually would. And then when you wake up on Friday morning, maybe you don't have the same vim, vigor, vitality that you used to. Maybe that's writ large the issues that you are having in life. Maybe in 2025, you want to put your physical house back in order. You need to go check out Chalk. Buck is taking this. It's helped him to get back in shape right in advance of having a baby. He didn't want to have the dad bod before he became a dad, and he's using Chalk. A lot of you are as well. You love it.
I'll just tell you, I take Chalk daily. It's in the name, and it's fantastic.
The male vitality stat can replenish your testosterone levels all naturally by 20% in just 3 months' time. And right now, you can get hooked up with an awesome offer. My name Clay, best possible subscription discount for life. Go online, check it out. CHOQ is the website. Our boy Seaton down in Texas, this is his company, and he is doing fabulous work to help give the men and women of America a little bit more natural energy than we otherwise would have. CHOQ.com is the website. My name Clay for a discount on any subscription for life. That's CHOQ.com. My name Clay.